Here's a problem you didn't know you needed a solution for. How to stream live radio to the MiSTer using the Amiga core.
These broken wings.
How about web browsing?
Google, baby.
Cool, right? Yeah, I knew you'd be on board. First of all, let me preface this by saying I'm far from an Amiga expert. Aside from throwing in a few floppy disks and making it say some silly things,
Subscribe to the channel.
I'm a massive noob. I don't know anything about the Amiga, but I did get it up and running, and I'm here to show you exactly how I did it. Let's go. Getting this all set up is a three-stage process, 3 stages. Preparing your Amiga install / workbench. Step 2, obtaining the prerequisite software that we'll need. And step 3, configuring the whole shebang. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail with step 1. As like I said, I'm no expert, but I'll explain what you need and I'll leave links in the description below so you can replicate what I have here. Now my MiSTer had its Kickstart ROMs pre-installed. If you don't know what Kickstart is, just Google it. It's like Amiga BIOS, if you like. They were pre-installed, but I'm assuming you're already at that stage. So if you're new to the Amiga, I'd suggest obtaining some preloaded HDFs from kindly folks online. I know some of you are already thinking, what's an HDF? Okay, very quickly then. HDF is a hard file or a hard disk file. Think of it like a virtual hard disk. ADF is an Amiga disk file, so a floppy disk image. And LHA is a fork of LHARC, which is a compression algorithm, also known as LZH. So I guess LHA is LHARC Amiga. Just consider it like a zip file. So get your preloaded HDF, fire it up on the MiSTer, use Google to find it or follow the links. I've got some stepping stones for you. If you don't do this, you'll likely need to augment your workbench installation with various tools such as the LHA unpacker and various other shell extensions in order to follow along with what I have here. Another thing to do here is to create the share folder so that we can easily move files to the Amiga. Again, links in the description, but basically download the floppy image, mount the image and copy over these 3 files to their respective drawers in Workbench. Create a shared directory in the Amiga folder on your MiSTer, then invoke the share by running the shell command mount share : Important note here, the folder on the MiSTer should be called shared with a D, but the command is mount share. Once you're all set with this, you'll need to obtain the software required to access the internet and play some sweet tunes. So let's look at this in a bit more detail. We need a TCP/IP internet connection so that we can access the web and stream the radio. To do this, we'll need to download a network manager with a TCP/IP stack. There are several to choose from, but the one I'm using here is called Miami. That sounds pretty hip, cool and 80s. Miami consists of 5 packages. Grab them all. Download these and FTP or otherwise get them into the shared folder you created on the MiSTer. As previously mentioned, LHA files are archives, kind of like zips, so you need to extract or unpack them. If you downloaded a preloaded HDF, there's a good chance this has already been installed for you, but if not, you'll need to obtain and install the LHA unpacker. Here you can see I'm able to extract the installation files from each of the LHAs into the temp drawer on the Amiga. Once this is done, simply run the install application, click proceed. I created a Miami drawer in utilities, and in a minute or so it's done. Next, install the media player. For this one, I'm going with Amiga Amp. It supports playing media files via HTTP, so that kind of covers what we need to do here. And it's the same process as before. Extract the app, and we're done. Now, this is step 3, the configuration. Right, first of all, check you've got PPP enabled on the MiSTer. To do this, bring up the OSD, press right, and ensure that under connection you have PPP with a baud rate of 115200. I'm also working on the assumption you already have your MiSTer connected to the internet. You have your MiSTer connected to the internet, right? Good. Now open the Miami app and configure it thusly. Under interface, choose built-in serial, PPP, select baud speed 115200, that's important, otherwise it won't handshake, and select IP type static. At this point, it's probably worth pointing out these IP addresses and ranges will be for my network and may differ for you. Under PPP, uncheck Get DNS from IPCP. I don't know if that's important, but it worked for me. Now this next step is important. Telling Miami where to find the DNS servers. In databases, select DNS servers from the drop-down list at the top, click Add and input 8.8.8.8. That's Google's DNS server. And press Return. If you can see it added to the list, you've done it right. If you click Add again, it will create another blank field. You don't want that. Also add the IP for your router. In this case, mine is 192.168.1.1. Under TCP IP, enter a free IP address on your local network. I happen to know that ranges .2 to .100 are available on mine, but I'm going to change it to a higher address anyway. If it's checked, uncheck use DHCP. Finally, under modem, check the box that says null modem. Now hit online. If you've done it correctly, you should have a connection. Alright, we're online. I'm going to run Aweb. Now this was installed on the HDF originally when I downloaded it. And that just very quickly allows me to check it's all working. And there we go. Now we've got Google. Alright.
Wow.
Now we're ready for the main event. Go ahead and locate Amiga amp and fire it up. Yeah, that looks kind of familiar.
Winamp. It really whipped the llama's ass.
So now we need to add some radio URLs. You can grab these from various places. Just Google radio streaming M3U PLS. I used this website. You're going to want to find streams that are 64 kilobits per second. Remember that baud speed? Yeah, so that limits us to less than around 115 kilobits per second max. So all those 128 kilobits per second streams, yeah, they're not going to work with this. There's probably a way to increase the MiSTer's baud rate by changing some ini file somewhere. I don't know how to do that. If someone does, let me know. That'd be cool. This bit's admittedly a bit of trial and error, but I did manage to find a few streams that were online and broadcasting. In the playlist editor, hold your mouse button on the plus file and choose plus URL. Then type in the location from the website. If you're lucky, the stream will buffer and you'll hear the glorious tones of 64 kilobits per second broadcasting. Now all that's left to do is sit back, close your eyes, and live in the glorious version of 1991 that never was. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, it's neat, isn't it? Nice little project. Like I said, I'm no Amiga expert, but I somehow fumbled my way through this as a bit of a challenge to myself. There are probably easier ways to do everything I've discussed here, and my Workbench window management skills leave a lot to be desired. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, consider subscribing.
New retro adventures rules.
You're beautiful. I'm done.